I request the dignitaries to please take their seats on the dais, and I request Mr. Vinay Gupta, Executive Director GMA, to escort them to the dais. I now request Mr. Dharmendra Singh to please present a sapling to Dr. Indrajit Ghosh. Thank you, sir. I now request Mr. S.K. Tiwari to please present a sapling to Mr. Vikram Kasbekar. Thank you, sir. It is my utmost honor to introduce Mr. Dharmendra Singh, President GMA and Deputy Executive Director, Shriram Pistons and Rings Limited. Sir is a mechanical engineering graduate with over 34 years of rich experience in the field of manufacturing and project management in automotive industry. After completing his graduation, he had joined Yamaha Motor Company as trainee engineer. Later, he joined Shriram Pistons and Rings Limited, the largest manufacturer of piston rings and engine valve in India. In Shriram Pistons, he has grown from a line engineer to the senior management position and presently working as Deputy Executive Director. He has played a key role in growth journey of the company and has been the member and leader of the core team for implementing various manufacturing excellence initiatives like TPM, cost reduction, manpower right sizing, etc. He has undergone lean manufacturing training at AOTS Japan and top management leadership program at IIM Ahmedabad. He has widely traveled overseas to Japan, Germany, USA, Middle East, China and other countries for technology transfer and business meetings. I request you, sir, to please welcome the dignitaries, guests and delegates and give a brief about GHAZIABAD Management Association and today's program.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to you all to 32nd Annual Convention of GHAZIABAD Management Association. It gives me immense pleasure and great feeling to be physically amongst all of you after a gap of almost 2 years. And I'm sure you all will be having a similar feeling today for the coming to this convention. Friends, for last 2 years, due to pandemic, we were constrained to hold the annual convention virtually. Even though the members or the participants who were participating in that virtual conference were much larger than what we have today here. But the feeling of togetherness, what we have today, was missing on those conventions. So thank you all once again for making it happen. To begin, on behalf of GMA, I extend a very warm welcome and hearty welcome to our chief guest, Shri Indrajit Ghosh ji, Global Chairman, MSME Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India. Mr. Ghosh possesses a deep understanding and knowledge on the subject and comes with a very wide experience in the field of sustainability. I also extend a very warm welcome to our guest of honor, Shri Vikram Kasbekar ji, Executive Director, Hero MotoCorp. Kasbekar sir is a known professional in automotive world and has been one of the pillar of growth journey of the world's largest producer of two-wheeler company. Sir, we are indebted to you for accepting our invitation and to be part of this convention and enrich us with your vast experience and knowledge. My gratitude to the speaker of the technical session. We have 3 technical sessions today. For technical session 1, on role of governance, we have Anup Mittalji, former CMD, NBCC, and Mr. Sumit Gambhir, VP Corporate Law and Company Secretary, DCM Shriram. For technical session 2, on role of technology, we have Shri Ashok Goyalji, AVP Strategic Sourcing and Supply Chain, Hero MotoCorp with us. For technical session 3, on role of academia, we have Dr. KK Dwivedi, VP MIT University. Valedictory session today will be graced by Mr. Mahendra Singh Tanwar, young, dynamic and visionary City Commissioner of GHAZIABAD. Hearty welcome and gratitude to Shri Praveer Das ji for joining us from IMA. My gratitude to the Governing Council member, EC member and Office Bearer of GMA who have been working with me tirelessly for last 1 month for organizing this program. I would now request all of you to please join me in welcoming all the dignitaries by giving them a good round of applause. Now, friends, something about the theme of the convention. The mission and vision of GHAZIABAD Management Association is to enable GHAZIABAD organizations to develop global competitiveness. And to facilitate this, GMA has always been forward-looking and taking up subjects and matters which are of utmost importance to the stakeholder of GMA. And they are industry, institutions and individuals. In line with the mission and vision of GHAZIABAD Management Association, when we started brainstorming to find a relevant topic for the convention, we deliberated that it's enough of COVID and uncertainty in last 2 years, and by now we have all learned to live with the uncertainty and the challenges posed to us by the pandemic, be it in business or in society. So let's go beyond COVID and talk on the subject which is going to be of more relevance to us in the growth journey of India to become $5 trillion economy in the years to come. And that's how we zeroed down on the theme of the convention as redefining growth the ESG way. Now the question is, friend, why there is a need to redefine growth? Friends, we all know that the growth and sustainability, they go hand in hand and both contradict each other. Over the last 100 years, unmindful industrial growth had a catastrophic effect on environment and posed a serious threat to the human life on the earth. People in different parts of the world have already started feeling the impact of this in terms of global warming, severe drought and heavy floods. Right here in NCR, we have felt hot weather and temperature in April which has never been seen in the last 72 years. And it's not only environment. All these years, the growth has taken place making compromises on social values and governance. It's quite late, but the urgency of this matter has been recognized by the world now. The leaders of the world come together every year since 1995 to develop a global response to the climate emergency, which is called as Climate Summit, and recently it was held in Glasgow. The societal norms about what people expect of companies has noticeably changed in the recent years. People now want businesses to make a profit while solving social and environmental challenges. People want businesses to deliver benefits to people while operating sustainably and minimizing their environmental and social impact. The need to have sustainable business practices have compelled the industries, companies, businesses and government to think and rethink the way they have worked so far and rise to the challenge. ESG is an approach which is the theme of the convention today, to evaluate the extent to which a corporation works on behalf of social goals that go beyond the role of a corporation to maximize profit on behalf of the corporation shareholders. Typically, the social goals advocated within ESG framework include working to achieve certain set of environmental goals as well as set of goals having to do with supporting certain social movement, and third set of goals having to do with whether the corporation is governed in a way that is consistent with the goal of diversity, equity and inclusion movement. Investment decisions have traditionally been driven by the financial parameters. With the global pandemic, climate change, continued depletion of natural resources, and various instances of fraud and scams, investors have awoken to the reality of how environment, social and governance, that is ESG factors of a business entity would have an impact on its long-term financial performance. ESG helps as a tool which is used by investors to understand the behavior of the companies and forecast the future performance. Although ESG matrices are not mandatory for financial reporting, but many entities still choose to incorporate these matrices in their annual reports because of its impact on the investment behavior. Presently, despite a growing and significant body of thought leadership on ESG, it remains an area organizations are still grappling with. The convention today will offer a framework for all of us to learn, deliberate, think and put in place business initiatives to address ESG while talking and while identifying growth opportunities. I am sure with the galaxy of experts joining this convention today and the deliberations planned today, we will be able to have more insight into the aspect of balancing ESG aspect while thinking and planning of the growth. Now, without any further delay, I would leave the stage open for the experts to enrich us with their thought on the subject. And thank you once again, and have a great day and great learning. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your address. I now request Mr. Vinay Gupta, Executive Director GMA, to please introduce Mr. Kaspekar.
Thank you, Dr. Divya. Good morning, friends. We are privileged to have with us Mr. Vikram Kaspekar as our keynote speaker and guest of honor. Mr. Kaspekar is the Executive Director and is on the board of Hero MotoCorp Limited. He is also on the board of HMC MM Auto Limited and HMCL Leroy Bangladesh Limited joint ventures. He has contributed for formulating and driving the sustainable manufacturing strategy to meet global standards in manufacturing quality and delivery, new model centers, project global parts center, green initiatives and compliances. He has been a part of team driving strategic alliances for business growth. He is also in various committees for pricing and sourcing, statutory compliance and audit committees. As CTO, he has successfully steered transition from BS4 to BS6 regulation. Mr. Kaspekar brings more than 40 years of experience in the field of operations, supply chain, R&D, manufacturing and project engineering. He has been with Hero MotoCorp Limited for close to 16 years and has contributed significantly to the growth of the organization. In the auto industry, he has worked in commercial vehicles, auto ancillaries and two-wheeler sectors. A stint in Birla Copper as business head, giving exposure to copper business in which smelters were stabilized and unit was turned profitable. He is actively associated as member of CII Netherlands Region Council. That's what Mr. Kaspekar is, and now I request Mr. Kaspekar to kindly address his keynote address.
Namaskar. It's my privilege and honor to be present here addressing on this very important topic of ESG. Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome, literally a warm welcome on this session by GMA. And very aptly so, the presentation, the present I would say given to us is something I will really appreciate. It's a green plant. And that's the right beginning, I will say, for an environment initiative. Thank you very much. ESG is on environment, societal and governance. So Dharmendra ji has spoken a lot about it. I'll not get into the technicalities and finer points. But I think it's important to really understand that how we can drive business growth, monitoring all these factors. So one of the very important aspects I must say is, if you see our older generations, the kind of education that they were giving us was something that take only what is absolutely essential and not be overzealous to gather more and more and more. And sometimes that greed tends to drive overconsumption, which is really not good. If you see the houses also, a lot of these houses were quite eco-friendly. You didn't require air conditioners or this thing, natural ventilation, natural thing. Then of course, greenery and trees. So I keep repeating this many times. When I was in Pune, we used to come from the camp area on a scooter, and the moment we entered Model Colony, where I used to stay, you could feel the cool blast of air on the chest. So this is what air does. And I was in Telco, I started my career in Tata Motors, earlier Telco. Whenever the cloudy weather would come, it would rain there first. Thanks to Mr. Mulgaonkar, who was the chairman emeritus, he planted trees in a barren land and practically created a jungle and a lake. So these are the kind of initiatives which I really appreciated right from my beginning and as a child in the for green initiatives. So if we look at now what is really happening, you did mention about the warmest day in last 72 years. The earth has overshot. You see, we have exhausted already all the resources. You will require 1.5 times the resources on the earth today to manage or balance out the resources. So one is, there is a deficit spent in the environment. I think we owe it to the coming generations, our children, our grandchildren, to have a much better future. So we practically need 1.5 Earths to support our current resource use. So very important how we address it. There was a latest intergovernmental panel on climate change, IPCC, that reports that 5 years have been the hottest since 1850. And they have also declared for India the frequency of events like heat waves is expected to increase 75 times by 2050. So you can expect the glaciers to melt, you can expect the Arctic, Antarctic to shed some ice and water level going up. So it's going to be catastrophic by 2050. So there was a group of scientists who looked at how we can, how we should be actually doing it. There was an emergency meeting, and I think it's called, forget the name, that was in 2020. And the target is to see that by 2050 we do not exceed the rise in temperature by 1.5 degrees average. If we continue the way as it is we are doing, it will be 3 degrees. And that is the reason a lot of initiatives need to be taken to control these aspects. If you look at the latest trends which are happening, particularly in our auto industry, it is primarily changing over from BS4 to BS6, more fuel efficient. But let's say I know two-wheelers and cars, I must say, two-wheelers of course contribute about 30-32 grams per kilometer of CO2, and cars about maybe 110 to 115 grams per kilometer. And you see the number, just multiply that and an average 25 kilometers average travel, you can see the amount of CO2 which is getting generated. So The next solution comes as EV. So EV will generate roughly about much lesser as compared to over. Now when I talk about this whole carbon emission, now I'm talking about the well-to-wheel. So a four-wheeler will be around 200 grams of CO2 per kilometer, whereas an EV is half of that. But I was really surprised to know that if we use ethanol, which is what the government is driving very aggressively, and that we convert it onto a hybrid, then you have hybrid cars now, Prius, Camry and all that. So those kind of things will further be lesser than even the EV. Because well-to-wheel means right from the mining raw material to the finished stage. So this is just one of the examples which is coming through, and it's wonderful to see academia also a part of this. So we have to see that the emerging students and the children tend to get the awareness of environment and contribute to innovative ideas. We have to be thinking out of box to bring in new technologies and new ideas. Important is, as Hero MotoCorp, I can speak more about it, we are committed to be carbon neutral by 2030. However, we want to target very aggressively with our all stakeholders, which means our supply chain partners as well as our dealers. So right from end to end, we would like to be carbon neutral, and we have taken very aggressive targets. I think in a couple of decades we are targeting much before India, which the Prime Minister has declared by 2070. A couple of decades before that, we will be carbon neutral. So one of the very important aspects today also for the industry is the investors also look at what environmental initiatives they are taking. So investments and all which will coming through to you will depend on that. On the business front also, it is very vital and important that we understand the duty towards carbon emission. I think the world is committed towards this, and I find it that the youngsters today are far more conscious than what we were, and I think it's a good beginning where they will also take it up and contribute to lesser carbon emissions. The other aspect which I want to tell you is we also started this journey long back. Our chairman emeritus was very passionate about it, Mr. Brijmohan Munjal, I'm sure you have heard about it. He and our current chairman, Mr. Pawan Munjal, is also very passionate about green. And we started this journey of Green Vendor Development Program. And that was sometime, Ashok, in 2007-8, I think. We started with that long back, and we have come a long way. And we got full-fledged support. And believe me, if we follow these initiatives, particularly in the manufacturing sector, you'll find that your costs will come down or remain stagnant in spite of the inflation. So if you look at the manufacturing variable cost, what we are looking at, with all the initiatives that we have taken, because power forms 50% of the overall manufacturing cost. So that we have been able to curtail with a lot of improvements, innovation and technology. We have been able to curtail it almost to the same levels for last over a decade, in spite of the inflation. And this has benefited all. Second aspect is, this is an era of collaboration, cooperativeness, and it is important that we learn from each other, what we call typically in the TPM parlance, horizontal deployment. So something good is there, please grasp it, share it some with yourself and spread it. Good things should spread, not the bad things. So there are many examples. I'm sure I would leave it to the technical session to get into the details. But overall, we are aligned with the Sustainability Development Goals of the United Nations. So it talks about societal also, if you take it, the S part of it is that the CSR spend that we do, that should be judiciously done. And industry can contribute a lot in providing jobs. so that poverty goes off. Because one fellow is poor, other fellow is rich, this imbalance will never work. So sustainable growth is, I think, very important, that everybody grows. I'm not speaking of socialism. Meritocracy is vital and important. You can't sit at home and eat or get freebies. One must, even a butterfly comes out of the cocoon, it has to come out, then only it gets strength on the wings. So no poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality. So there are 17 levers on which we are working on, and that includes life below water and partnership for goals. So you must have your goals very clearly defined, work towards it, collaborate and help each other in this. I'm sure all of you will learn a lot from this session and take good things forward and take this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom and sharing your experience with us. Thank you for setting the tone of convention. I now request Mr. Vinay Gupta to please introduce our chief guest, Dr. Indrajit Ghosh.
Thank you, Deepa. Friends, we are really privileged to have a person like Dr. Indrajit Ghosh, a man of high stature, with us as our chief guest. He is a mechanical engineer and MBA from IMT GHAZIABAD and International Business Management Institute, Germany. He's also completed diplomas in business management, sustainable management, global governance, CSR concepts and models, digital transformation and leadership principles from Harvard. He also did circular economy foundation course from USA. He holds 2 honorary doctorates by UN RSI Sweden and from University of France. He has 34 years of corporate experience and expertise in plastic packaging, recycling, waste management, and social work. He has published many reports in BOPP film scenario and Indian BOPP film on global flexible packaging. He has written various articles on plastic packaging, recycling in national and international journal of repute. He has spoken in various subjects for more than 200 times nationally and internationally. He is the chairman of MSME Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India. He is holding top designations in different organizations, including International Chamber of Media and Entertainment Industry, NHRO, Commonwealth Entrepreneur Club, London, Dynamic Outreach Private Limited, and many more. He is on advisory board of many prestigious educational institutions pan-India. He has an advisory board of many national and international organizations of environment, climate change, pollution control, tree plantation, etc. He is advisor, United Nations Global Compact, World Environment Council Sustainable Development Goals, Clean India and Green India, Digital India initiatives. He holds professional membership of Kotler Award and Kotler Books in India, Harvard Leadership, Cambridge, USA. He is working very closely with the PMO and Central Ministry. Traveled more than 40 countries, connected globally with plastic packaging, recycling and waste management, renewable energy, biogas, water management. And with this, we find he is the most appropriate person to be as a chief guest with us today. He is a person who has got more than 200 awards, including certificates, trophies, globally. With this short introduction, although he has a very, very long introduction, if I started, it will take the end of the day. With this, I invite Dr. Ghosh to kindly deliver his inaugural address. Dr. Ghosh.
First of all, good morning to you all. And I am privileged and honored to be here as the chief guest. And I must thank you, the GHAZIABAD Management Association for giving this opportunity to speak in a wonderful platform. My previous speakers, they have already detailed about the ESG, so I will not go to repeat the same. But I want to speak, what MSME is doing for the ESG as well as for, different organizations of MSME, and we are working 70% for the MSMEs and 30% of the time for the corporates. And if you will see, for the last, I can give a small example. Previously, basically, whether it is Congress government or BJP or Janata Dal, nobody has given any importance to the MSME industry for the last 75 years. But at the time of pandemic 2020, we got a consignment from China, which was a very bad shape. So we, Prime Minister returned the consignment and requested PSUs like Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, company like Maruti, if I want to start involving the MSMEs to produce all these products. And you will be happy to know that today 118 MSMEs are making these products, and already we have supplied in 154 countries within 10 months' time. So MSME can do wonders, and we are also encouraging the MSMEs to come into the various other products which we are importing from China and different other countries. Government of India is also helping the industries to grow. Particularly, this government is, you must be knowing it, they are making a rail line from New Delhi to Mumbai through the rural areas. It touches 5 states: Delhi, Haryana, MP, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. And in one side of the rural areas, Government of India is making smart villages. And the other side of the red line, Government of India is making sustainable industrial parks, like recycling, waste management, logistics, or automobile, food and beverages, and so on. And you will be happy to know that already 70% of the land has already been sold out, already taken by the Pan India businessmen as well as from abroad. As a chamber also, we are working in both the ways, like Make in India initiative. We are already we touched with 14 companies from different parts of the world who want to put up the factory in India. And also we are encouraging the MSME industries for the first time in the history of India to go global. Like lots of our MSME industries are making very quality product, but they are not able to sell it in exports because they don't know the documentation. So we are, as chamber, we are educating the MSMEs how to do the exports about the documents with the help of IIFT. And if you will see from 2022 to 2030, according to us, it will be a golden period of Indian industry to grow pan India as well as from the other industries. We are tirelessly working to educate the MSME industry also to do exports. Because if you will not do exports, India will never be achieve 5 trillion economy. If you will produce the material in India and selling the materials inside India only. Because if you will see the number 1 and number 2 countries, they are approximately 51% and 49% they are selling from the MSMEs to the entire world. I am talking about US and China. And India is only doing 29% as present, but we also have to do at least 50% plus. And MSME can do it. And Government of India is also helping the MSMEs to go. A lot of fundings are also given But yes, for the first time, when the government of India was announced 3.77 lakh crores for the MSME government without any collateral, it was a misconception and misinterpretation. So it took 3 months time to clear the confusion, because no bank is going to give open money without collateral to any businessman. So after deliberation with all chambers, it was decided the people who are 50 crore plus, the government of India, banks can give the certain percentage of loan for their growth, because they have already factory and established for more than 5 years. So they they have the land and the factory. So banks are interested to give loan for their growth. But for new organizations, it is very difficult to give in without collateral. It has to be with collateral, and without collateral only 10 lakh rupees bank can give. Otherwise, we have to give the collateral and get the money. What I am trying to say is, even the thinking. I am also attached with more than 15 universities and business schools. The thinking of the students are also changed. Previously, people are working, studying for how to get a good job. Now the students are, I'm interacting with a lot of students. Their thinking is, if I have to work for 24 hours, you have to work with passion. Why for others? Why for not me? So there are a lot of startups are also coming up. And at the age of 22, 23, if any student will start a startup, MSME is also helping them with a minimum loan to start with 10 lakhs. So that a lot of business schools and universities, they are helping the students in the third year, in the second year of passing, before 6 months, to open a company, and after passing the course, they can start on the startups. There are a lot of startups that can be possible, particularly in certain sectors like in recycling, waste management, solar energy, biogas, water, artificial intelligence. These are the main areas where you can get very good future in the coming 10 to 15 years. As per the ESG is concerned, it is must. As on today, if you will see the entire world, every organization is also keeping a senior people for looking after the sustainability for their companies, and it is necessary. Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Dubai, Sri Lanka, everywhere, the Indians, we have appointed the Indians. The basic purpose is a lot of traders or businessmen, they cannot speak English very fluently, so they can speak in their own language, in Hindi, Punjabi, Gujarati, with a counterpart. And we have all requested with all the officers if they are working for the chamber, simultaneously they can, they can do the business also cross countries, because in exports, if you will see, the main thing is the trust. Once we have our offices in different parts of the world, so people can do the business, people can get benefits from them. Suppose I can give a small example. Suppose you are going to Germany, you have a meeting with 2-3 clients. If you request a client to come to the hotel or any restaurant, it will be 3,000-4,000 rupees. It will take tea and coffees. So you can use our offices in Germany. Before going, you can fix up the meeting, take 2-3 hours time, have the meeting there, and tea, coffee, everything will be served. So you can send the money and time. That is also our motto, way of working business. And as per the environmental, social, and governance of ESG is concerned, it is smarter business for a stronger world. Everybody has to adopt. The large companies already adopted. The middle class company is already already on the job. They are also adopting slowly, and the medium and small industries are also coming up, falling into the same line. ESG is more than ticking boxes. It's about making a difference for your business and our world, creating sustained outcomes that drive value and fuel growth while strengthening our environment societies. Our passionate community of solvers are ready to put in the work with you, environmentalists, sociologists, economics, strategists, technologists, and they will help you to turn theory into action and business as usual into the new ways of thinking and doing, people and technology working together to find solutions larger than today, creating a transparently brighter future for the generations to come. Strategies lead action plan for ESGs. ESG is more than good intentions. It's about creating a tangible, practical plan that achieves real results. Success is not about climate change, diversity, or disclosures alone. It's about embedding these principles and more across your business, from investment in sustainable innovation and bringing together your best people and smartest technology so you can see more, go deeper, and act swiftly, enabling you to make a biggest challenges of today that capture the best opportunities for tomorrow. That one of the includes ESG metrics right through all areas of your operation and creates maximum transparency. With the right combination of data and disclosure, you can be confident in both clear reporting and greater trust, not just now, but for the long term in future. MSME, Chamber of Commerce and Industry are working relentlessly for implementing all these. We are working on 53 different verticals. On all 53 verticals, 53 vice presidents are there. They are taking care of the industry, make them our member and solve their issues, and whatever their issues with the state government or central government, we input with the ministry and working on that. So we are helping the industry to grow, and Government of India is simultaneously working with us hand to hand. We are doing a lot of large events on different hot subjects, like Asia's largest recycling summit, waste management, EPR, CSR, circular economy, then specialty films, flexible packaging, as well as electrical vehicles. And we are arranging, recently we have a conference for 3 days. It began now in New Delhi for all these subjects. And we are taking certain people, certain MSMEs who are interested to put up that plant in Dubai or in UAE and in African countries. So we are encouraging them to put the factory there, because if anybody will put the factory in any country of Africa or in UAE, they can handle 71 countries, 54 and 17 countries very vigorously. They can supply from there, because as you know, nowadays 70% plus materials Africa is purchasing from Dubai. So the scenario has changed, and after the COVID, the total business scenario has also changed. We lost, 14 crore people have lost their job in India. Simultaneously started, just now, in maybe month or so, the recruitment has started again. And by 23 January or 23 March, I think it will again will be coming back to the similar situation if the fourth wave will not come in India, maybe which is expected in June and July. So anybody, any industry who want to work, any help they require from MSME, we are always there to help them to grow, and whatever they can take our membership, whoever is our member, because there are 6 crores MSMEs are registered and 4 crores MSMEs are there, they are not registered. So almost 10 crores MSME we cannot service 10 crore people at a stage, but we can service at least our members. So for our members we are doing continuous helping them in different ways. And also we are working with the government to put up the plant in India. And recently, just 10 days back, we have collaborated with the European Union with 4 countries, Denmark, Slovenia, Germany and France, for doing MSME cluster work of European Union and India. And it's a joint venture. If any European company wants to come to India, we will help them. And if any our companies go and put the plant in Europe, or import and export business, then the MSME will help them. So jointly we have started few days back, and hopefully we will do the justice for the MSME industries. Whatever the lacking is there, government is also working very hard. We are also working hard. And hopefully, it will be, better future will come. And coming 10 years, I am telling you, it will be the best time for industries to grow in India. Suppose, why I can tell you, one example. The largest mobile manufacturer, Samsung, they have started their new factory, very large factory in the whatever factory they have in South Korea. Because of one reason, because if you will make the material in India, the land cost is less, the labor costs are less, and if you will make the same product in different country and sell all over the world, is less profitable. But if you will make the same product in India and sell all over the world, it is more profitable. That's why all the car manufacturers are also in India. They have started producing from here and selling all over the world. So India has a very bright future, and India is the only country who can replace China, but not with immediate 1 or 2 years. It will take 7 to 10 years time. Because in China they have all automatic machines. We have just started the automatic machine 10-15 years back. So it will take some time, but only if you will see 750 crores people in the whole world, out of that 300 crores is in 2 countries, almost 40% of the total population. So people are interested to put the plant in India because we are a democratic country. They can sit with a foreigner, whoever put up the plant, they have a say with the government, they can speak, they can express their views which they cannot in China. So hopefully, a lot of industries have already shifted. You must be knowing, 65 industries is coming up to UP, and iPhone has also started in Chennai. They are also shifting from China the entire factory, and hopefully we have a very, very bright future in the coming 10 years time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience with us and gracing the occasion with your valuable presence. We are now open to questions and answers. If anybody wants to ask any question from our dignitaries, they may ask.
Hello. Hello. Sir, I am Mercy Gupta from SM Industry. मेरा क्वेश्चन बहुत साफ है। पिछले 6 महीनों में सर इनपुट कॉस्ट हैव इंक्रीज्ड tremendously, not even steel price. Overall input cost have increased. So this is a big challenge. Now the good news is only the GST is increasing. तो इस ये बड़ा चैलेंज है, इससे कैसे निपटा जाए? गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैज a policy to control the input cost.
Basically, you are absolutely right. We all are working on that direction. Even in certain products, government has applied GST. Like product like recycling, they are 18% GST. Who will buy the material of recycling with 18% GST? So we are working with the finance department, and hopefully very soon the GST will be abolished either 5% or total 100% in recycling industry. Like your input cost, the raw material cost today, you will see it is jumping like anything, because of the total world scenario. It is a phase. It will, take some time. And government is also aware of that. The raw material price is going up. The petrol and diesel cost down. और भी बढ़ने का chances है. So it is a little phase. All of us have to bear. And slowly, over a period of 1 or 2 to 3 years time, it will come down and come into the right direction.
Thank you very much. I'm Deepak Gupta from the MSME sector. I'd like to know if MSME can help us in marketing. So that's one sector which is a very tough sector, where we are not able to get any headway in any industry as such, or in government sector. But can you help us?
Yes, we can. We have a chamber where all the people are involved, like they are all factor members, like Environment Man of India, Water Man of India, Plastic Man of India, and Chemical Man of India. They are all our background members. Generally, they don't have the membership, without knowing the chamber. So they are helping the industries to depend on how to market the product. We have a marketing team in MSME. If you are our member, then we can help you. We have a global, WhatsApp group where almost 150 to 200 top industrialists are involved. Members. So you can directly talk to them, and if you take our membership, we will also help you to market in India and abroad. So how to go about it? That we can help you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Amit Agarwal from GHAZIABAD. My question to Mr. Kasriga. Neutral, especially manufacturing unit. Can you just throw some light on some major points which we can do on manufacturing unit?
So practically A and B shift get covered. The problem basically lies in the grid friendliness. So state to state, there's a lot of hindrances, but some states are friendly. So Gujarat is friendly, and there the grid does help in helping us in the obtaining the power. One of the things that can be looked at the MSMEs is if you build a consortium and put a maybe 50, 60, 100 megawatt power plant, and that you load it onto the grid and utilize it at your end. So such kind of things will definitely help. The second aspect is continuous improvement in avoiding reducing wastage, whether it's like, or even in your factories, many energy conservation measures would be very, very important and required. Wastage has to be reduced. The oil that we use, we don't have the O-rings and all, life is longer, it lasts better. So there are umpteen measures like this we have been taking all across. Important is involvement of all your people, driven from the top, and then taking input and feedback from the bottom, engagement of your people, promoting innovation, and with a clear focus on how you do it. Even our product design, whenever we do an improvement on weight reduction or other things, we always calculate the carbon content and what we have saved. So there are about 11, 12 levers that we use to reduce the carbon content. So we have a clear plan from now to 2030 of what we'll do. One of the major initiatives is planting of trees. So we have done about 2.3 million trees, and further we are enhancing that initiative.
घोष साहब, being the ex-banker, अभी कुछ देर पहले ही आपने जिक्र किया था कि MSME सेक्टर में up to 10 lakh node collateral is required. मैं एक सजेशन देना चाहूँगा क्योंकि you are very close to the policy making of MSME. मुद्रा योजना up to 10 lakh no collateral is required at the beginning itself. But over 2 years, suppose I say, बहुत अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस है, बैंक को भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी if this collateral limit